Hello. Good morning. Happy Friday. It is Friday, July 10th, 2026. I am Manila Chan. That up there is producer Robbie. We don't know where Ted is,
He'll be here soon.
but he'll be here, I guess. He's on his potty break, but normally he pops over and I could see him in the background, but he has not showed up in the background, but he'll be here shortly.
Well, we were a little bit late leaving, so he probably had to run to the little boy's room because once again, we started talking about immigration.
I see your hat.
So, rocking the hat. Compliments of Thomas. Thank you. Great son. And
the greatest son.
Great. Yeah, 100%. But no, we have an ad. We're going to go ahead and pop it while we wait for Ted.
While we're waiting for Ted, let's just get that out of the way.
All righty. Let me see here.
I was just reading a story about CBP and their surveillance techniques.
Yeah, well, this one is actually going to be about Rumble Wallet. So we hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part most people miss. Crypto was created so you could actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers or limited access, you're in control. And if you ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you felt that problem. Now, fast forward to today. Everybody's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels complicated. That's why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all that complexity and makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stable coins, or even digital-backed gold by Real Gold. No complicated setup. It connects to BoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in minutes. Once you're set up, you can support your favorite Rumble creators like us directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download Rumble Wallet. There you set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game. Just a few minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some.
All right, very good. So this is the TMI Show. I'm Manila Chan, producer Robbie there. Ted will be joining in a couple minutes, I assume. Because, sometimes the coffee hits and you got to go to the bathroom.
Oh, yeah. Listen, as soon as Ted makes an appearance, I'm going to go refill my cup. And also shout out to John D. Cockefeller for the $2 donation at the very end of the program. Mitch McConnell is just soft launching his cosplay of the God Emperor from Mankind from Warhammer 40K for Adepticon, Gen Con this year. I could see it.
I don't know what any of those words mean.
Well, no, cosplaying is also trannies do. But as far as the rest of it, I'm not sure.
I know cosplay. Yeah, the rest of that, I don't know what those words mean. There be Ted. Also, I'm going to give you a little bit of breaking news from Ted's old employer, the LA Times. Diarrhea causing cyclosporiasis exceeds 1,000 cases in the U.S. What you need to know. Ted, did you have some cyclosporiasis?
Not to my knowledge.
Hence why you're late to the show. We were worried. So, all right. I think we do something a little different to start the show, as a lot of people are tuned in before they trail off. I think we show a little teaser of the nation's foremost jizz scientist. She joined us yesterday for a very in-depth conversation about America's failing fertility crisis. A lot of it having to do with the man spunk, the baby batter. So the focus was on your guys' stuff. So Robbie, now's your time to get coffee. I think we should just put this up there for a few minutes, give a little teaser, and this is where you guys can watch. We'll be putting it up as a subscriber only special. So I think when you become a full Rumble premium subscriber, you have access to all of these exclusives. And if you subscribe to our channel exclusively, you will have access to interviews like this. So we're going to start getting, now that I'm unburdened and unbabied, well, probably more of a burden because it's harder to deal with a little human than being pregnant. But anyway, we'll be doing more of these. So
I certainly can't answer that question about all of them.
I'm going to take us out, put this up there for a few minutes, let you guys see, get a little sample of what Dr. Shanna Swan, Shauna Swan, what she had to say about the male jizz problem in America.
This, whether it's supported by science. But it is true that things are getting worse in terms of male reproductive health. And actually, females aren't doing that great either, but that's a separate conversation. So what I see from my research, we just had a paper presented at an international meeting showing that not only is sperm count going down at about 1% per year, that testosterone is as well. And so that's pretty alarming. And we also showed several years after that meta-analysis came out, we did it again. We updated it. And we showed that since 2020, the rate of decline is faster than 1% per year. It's like 2% per year.
What?
And the nice thing about that second paper was that we had then studies from all over the world. So it wasn't just North America, Australia, New Zealand, and the United States, which was in the first study. So all over the world, there's this decline of sperm. And now we're showing testosterone, and testosterone rate of decline has also picked up since 2020. So these are parallel phenomena. So both, and they're related, of course. The testosterone decline and sperm decline are related. Yeah, the third measure that we could tie in here, which involves the woman as well, is what's called the total fertility rate. I don't know if you've heard of that, but that's a measure of the number, that's the number of children that a couple can be expected to have in their lifetime. Okay, so if that number is 2.1, that's in a country, that country is going to replace itself. So the two people are replaced by 2.1, where there's a little bit of loss, you know, for infant death and so on. So that's just replacement. And when that number goes below 2.1, then countries get concerned, I think, as they should. And now, particularly in Southeast Asia, the numbers are getting really low. And I think the lowest number I've seen is in South Korea, I think 0.8. So
that's like falling off a cliff.
Yeah, that's just like the sperm, right? I mean, it's related.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But how much of those numbers are personal choices rather than something that you can examine with a microscope?
Yes, that's a great question, and it's a question I get pretty often. So it's true that having fewer children is in part a choice. Not a, or you want me to be on this? Okay, it's in part a choice, and that, but not entirely. So you can choose to delay childbearing until an older age when you're less successful. Okay, then you won't have as many children. You can decide not to have children. You can limit your family size, and so on and so forth. And my answer to that is yes, and we see the similar decline in humans and non-human species. So if you look at the number of species that are in the world, the number is going down at about the same rate. So it's not just humans. And these other species are not choosing, they're not taking oral contraceptives, right? They're not choosing.
Are these all mammals, or are these other species as well?
Yeah, all species, species-wide. If you look at the number of species, surviving species, that number is going down.
I mean, so these are not just mammals, like reptiles, like whatever.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right.
What?
Species. Yeah. So I think that's a really good perspective, because these animals are exposed to the same chemicals we are.
Right.
And let me just tell you a little anecdote. A long time ago, I think in the early, I'm not sure when Lou did this, say 2000, I just don't remember exactly, but Lou Gillette is a very famous biologist from and he was living in Florida. And what he showed was that alligators living in a lake that was contaminated by pesticides, Lake Apopka, had measurably smaller penises than alligators in a nearby lake that didn't have pesticide runoff. He also showed that the number of eggs in the nests were smaller. He showed fertility decline. Okay. And by the way, just you'd be interested if you want to look up Lou Gillette. He's not living, unfortunately, but he was fantastic. And he would go into the lake at night with his students, and he would actually physically wrestle the alligators into the boat and take them to the laboratory and measure the length of their penises. Okay.
It's like, come on, alligators! You don't have anything. You're not going to. You're not reproducing anyway. So come and be tested.
But that was one of the first really clear indications that these pesticides and other chemicals in the environment are, actually having a strong negative impact on male. That was only the male, but the females played a role too, and reproductive health. So that's actually, and Lou went to Congress. And he said to Congress, every man in this room is half the man his grandfather was. Okay? So that's
awesome.
Yeah, you should look it up, Lou Gillette. Yeah, I recommend you look it up.
We will.
Yeah, and he has students, of course.
And of course, Congress leapt into action.
Yeah, right.
As we know, the results have been stellar.
So it's not a new story. It's not a real old story either. I would say that really that early 90s, the work from Denmark kind of kicked this all off, right? And 36 years ago. So it's been going on, and we've been demonstrating more and more that this is not just about sperm. It's not just about penis size. It's not just about, it's all of reproductive function is declining. So if you want to max out, you've got to have a lot of stuff to max out here. And
you're starting out at a deficit.
What?
You're starting out at a major deficit.
Yeah. And in terms of testosterone supplementation, I am not a clinician. I'm not going to say anything about whether somebody should or shouldn't take testosterone. However, I will say that if you want to get pregnant, don't take testosterone, because you will not produce. You will not be able to. So, and many bros don't know this, that this is a, it's, you probably know it, but I can't speak to many of the things you mentioned that are good for your testosterone are also so good for your health. So great, do that, in terms of nutrition and exercise and all those good things. Don't smoke, don't drink, blah, 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 blah. But these are general recommendations. As far as just increasing your testosterone, men and women are interested in that. Postmenopausal women, by the way, have a big issue here with decreasing testosterone, because men and women both need it for a number of things, including libido. So I'll stop there. You can ask me more questions.
Yeah, Ted, I've got tons. Ted, do you want to take a shot before I start rambling on and bending her ear?
Yeah, sure. So, all right. So you said this meta study goes back 50 years. Did you start there? Why did you start there? I mean, is there any indication? I mean, I would imagine you'd start to see effects going back further than that. Maybe all the way back to the Industrial Revolution. So I'm just wondering,
You can't do that study unless the lab is there,
right,
to do the analysis. So what this is based on is studies. First of all, they have to be published. There has to be a demand for these in the literature. People have to be interested, and then you have to have a way to get the data. And it's not trivial to do this study. In the individual studies that made it up, these meta studies, each one involves getting a population of men and getting them to give a semen sample. I've done many studies that involve collecting semen, and it's not actually straightforward. And it's all
I should have followed up, Ted, with how does she mean collecting semen samples are not so straightforward?
Well,
I mean, I don't know. I don't
maybe it's
own
like
a semen
the
factory.
alligator dick measurement. Like sometimes you have to wrestle a guy. He's on his way to 7-Eleven, and you're like, "Hey, let's see what's in your big gulp." You know what I mean? So
Well, so Ted and I talked with Dr. Swan for an hour, and she was so interesting. I
she
read her
reminds me of
book.
Dr. Ruth.
I see that. I didn't think about that at the time, but yeah, I see it now that you say it. Look,
She's also very short.
she's teeny tiny. Yes, like Dr.
Yeah.
Ruth. She's
Mhm.
teeny. She said she's under 5 feet tall.
Yeah, so is Dr. Ruth.
Oh gosh, teeny tiny.
I
Oh,
got
Dr.
to
Ruth.
sit next to Dr. Ruth one time at a book event. So great. So I got to
'Cause
sit
you're
next to her for
towering.
2 hours just shooting the shit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what scared you most, or what was your takeaway from yesterday's interview with Dr. Swan?
So honestly, it's absolutely terrifying. I mean, I hate to say it, this is a more important story than probably anything else you will have heard about in the last year, in any format. I mean, the main takeaways are that all living things on the planet are being poisoned at such a rapid rate that effectively over the course of 50 years, we've lost 1% of fertility per year. Not just human beings, not just mammals, even reptiles, birds, things like that. Animals of all kinds are
All
literally
creatures.
we're dying. We're literally dying. And even if you don't care about reproducing, which is fine, a lot of people don't.
Sure, fine.
You've got to be thinking, okay, so if the sperm count, if the fertility rate of all these animals on the planet, including us, is falling off a cliff like this, it also explains that we're dying of all sorts of other diseases. This is why
Yeah.
cancer is going crazy. We are polluting ourselves to death. That's the real takeaway here.
Yeah.
And
She said it got worse after 2020, that it's now a rate of 2% per year. Per year.
That astonished me a little bit for the simple reason that the COVID pandemic provided a roughly 9 to 16 month break in industrialization and the production of particulate and other pollution. Right? I mean, we had major cities like New York suddenly. All sorts of interesting, beautiful birds started appearing. Traffic was gone. Air quality indices were much improved. So that's surprising to me. I guess it's probably related to the fact that we ramped up global production following the lockdown, and so this is about the amount of shit that we pump into the water and the air and the food.
Yeah.
And we're doing it at prodigious rates. We're fucking idiots, and we're not focused on this at all. Literally, this is along with climate change, which is related, of course, we closely related. This should be like a drop everything.
Yeah.
One of those Marvel movie, all the world
Stop the
leaders get
presses.
together, stop the presses. We don't care about the difference between socialism and capitalism anymore. We don't care about,
We're
our
dying
war. Russia and
as a
Ukraine don't
species.
no longer have beef. You know what I mean? It's like we have to focus on this thing. We'll fight each other later. But that's not what we're doing. We're not doing anything. Literally nothing.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was scary. That's why I asked her, about the movie Children of Men.
Mhm.
I really I don't have any faith that won't be the end result of how modern life is moving. And maybe that's, I don't know, why AI is moving at the pace it's moving, because there's really just going to be few people out there to actually man or do anything. A couple comments from the viewers. Matina says, this is scary. My 18-year-old is low testosterone. I'm so sad. I want him to have kids. He's already talking about having kids.
He's probably not even unusual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not even it's not
She
even
said,
weird.
Dr. Swan said basically all men today, whatever age you are, you are literally you have less than half the testosterone your grandfather had 50 years ago.
And think about, like, we don't know whatever
And
drop
sperm.
off there was between your grandfather and your great great grandfather, right? There must have
Right.
been a drop off.
Right, because there's no studies going back further than that, so she can't really dig into that. Sierra says, didn't the Supreme Court just stake down having Monsanto put warning labels on Roundup? Yeah, it doesn't do anything though. Roundup is still available in the US, not in the EU, but yeah, that's all the glyphosate, all that stuff. It was a scary, I mean, she's a lovely, brilliant professor on this topic, but
True.
and she was so much fun to talk to. She made science really
She was great,
approachable and
yeah.
interesting. She's so good, but I still was left saddened to hear all of the facts and the statistics. So if you guys want to see the rest of that interview, please become a $5 a month subscriber to the show. Ray has been gifting memberships to the show this morning, so thank you, Ray. So unless you get lucky enough to be one of Ray's random gift giving winners, help us out by $5 a month. You get to see interviews like this with Dr. Shauna Swan, author of the book Countdown, and she's got a movie, a documentary show type thing on Netflix that just came out recently called I think it's called The Plastic Detox. But you can look up her name in Netflix and it'll show up. Dr. Shauna Swan, Shanna, Shauna Swan with one N. But become a member, see the rest of that interview. So anyway, let's get to the news. All right, so I found this was like a flying under the radar story, Ted, that I can't believe more people weren't talking about this because it involves Paris Hilton. So apparently, Paris Hilton was on the Hill testifying this week, and she said the system failed her. I mean, you think, being a billionaire's daughter, that the system would be working in your favor, but I'll explain why. For years, Paris Hilton's story sounded almost unbelievable. She said she was beaten, strip searched, placed in solitary confinement, forcibly medicated, and psychologically abused while attending a private residential treatment facility in Utah as a teenager. Critics dismissed her account as celebrity sensationalism. Today, many of these same allegations are driving a national conversation about the so-called troubled teen industry. Hilton returned to Capitol Hill this week to once again urge lawmakers to strengthen oversight of youth residential treatment programs, arguing that thousands of vulnerable children remain at risk in facilities that operate with limited transparency and inconsistent regulation. She told lawmakers that no child seeking help should leave with lifelong trauma. Instead, her testimony comes at a pivotal moment. Just days earlier, Utah revoked the license of Provo Canyon School, the facility where Hilton says she spent almost a year, 11 months in the late 90s. State regulators cited repeated health and safety violations, including inadequate staffing, improper use of restraints, failure to provide timely medical care, and lapses in employee background checks. Because that's not creepy, Ted, to put your teenage daughter in.
No.
The school has been ordered to cease operations in early August, so in the next 2 weeks here. The closure marks the end of a facility that has operated for more than 50 years and one that has faced decades of lawsuits, investigations, and abuse allegations going as far back as the 1970s. Former residents have described physical abuse, prolonged isolation, excessive restraints, and medical neglect over multiple decades. The school's current owners maintain that Hilton's allegations predate their ownership and have disputed many of the other claims. But the story is bigger than this one school. The troubled teen industry is what they're calling it. Includes private boarding schools, wilderness programs, behavioral camps, and residential treatment centers that promise to help adolescents struggling with mental health, substance abuse, or behavioral problems. Critics argue that many operate with minimal oversight, while parents, often desperate for help, have little way of knowing what happens behind closed doors. Hilton has become one of the movement's most visible advocates helping push for reforms in Utah and supporting federal legislation aimed at increasing accountability and transparency in youth residential programs. What began as a deeply personal story has evolved into a bipartisan policy issue, with lawmakers increasingly questioning whether existing regulations are sufficient to protect children in institutional care. The closure of Provo Canyon School won't erase decades of alleged abuse, but for many former residents, including Hilton, it represents something they say they were denied as teenagers, the acknowledgement that someone finally listened. Look, this is no surprise to me. My dad was a social worker. I have many friends that work in that field, and they all scream and holler about it, Ted, all these social workers, but no one fucking cares. It's troubled teens, they go into these facilities and they're getting molested, they're getting drugged. I mean, this is like, you remember the movie with Angelina Jolie and Winona Ryder, Girl Interrupted? That's right. It's basically like that, but worse. I mean, Paris Hilton has, said she didn't say she was raped, but she said she was basically saying she was molested there, that she was, like they like male workers would strip her down, like hose her down, and like weird. How is this treatment? How is this helping a kid that's having maybe a mental break or a kid with drug issues? How are there not more expanded laws to protect kids? A country that, like, obviously we fail our kids at every turn, Ted, and this is shocking. Even more so because it's coming from somebody in the upper crust, right? You think they can afford the best of best care. And then here she is as a 45-year-old woman testifying on the Hill saying, I was abused. So what does that mean for the rest of us poor schmucks and slobs that can't afford a fancy schmancy place like this place in Utah? What does that mean for our kids?
Well, Manila, so I know a lot about this because, I went to school at Columbia University, and I knew, even though I was a scholarship kid, I knew lots of rich kids, and I've lived in New York City most of my life, and a lot of people from New York City, especially upper middle class and rich people, find themselves driven to these services. So what's really perverse, Manila, is, to answer your question, these are not, so that is the best available care. The rest of us who can't afford the care don't get any care at all. So if your kid is like, acting out, and they're getting in trouble, and they're shoplifting, and they're doing drugs, and they're turning tricks in Central Park. That's actually someone I knew was doing that. She was shooting up heroin. She was 15 years old. I didn't know her at the time. I just know the whole story. And she was selling her body on the streets, even though she was from a really rich family. So she was very troubled. There's nothing the parents could do. And ultimately, she was sent. Basically, the parents were desperate. They paid for goons to come in the middle of the night and kidnap their daughter and drag her off into a van into the streets of Manhattan and up to, I believe it was Vermont, to one of these facilities. So here's the story. This might be for most people watching, they have no fucking idea what we're talking about here. So this is very expensive. This is like $40,000 to $50,000 a month. And so now the thing is, basically, it's like comes out of the tough love movement of the 1970s, or the scared straight stuff. And basically the idea is, if you go to the cops, they won't do anything. You can't if you send your kid to rehab, they'll just leave because they want to do more drugs. So you're sending them to someplace that you're kidnapping them. You're keeping them by physical force, and you're basically beating them into submission so they stop using drugs and they straighten out. It's only something that very desperate, very well-off parents can do. If who has $50,000 a month? Nobody. So
the idea that you're breaking their will, I guess you break their will and then start them over.
I have a friend. She's a mom. She sent her daughter to one of these places for 4 months. $200,000 cash.
Oh my God.
Insurance doesn't cover it, right? It's out of pocket. So
Oh God.
so it's only for super rich people like Paris Hilton's parents. So the thing is, ironically, the reason that these facilities exist is because it's about the money. I mean, if you think about it, like you open up only states that are very remote and rural, and who are in red America, with the exception of Vermont, but that facility closed due to it was exposed on 60 Minutes in a scandal. Most of these places are in places like Wyoming, Utah, Nevada, Idaho, places like that, where there's a very few state regulations. The state regulators either know or don't care, or they don't know what's going on because they don't bother to investigate these facilities at all. And what they do is they turn a blind eye to what's going on. But it's a big money maker. I mean, you can buy a shitty ranch in the middle of nowhere for, I don't know, let's say $1 million, and then the money is rolling in. You know, you're getting like, you know, you pay like 5 people to, you know, as goons to try to scare these kids straight. You take them camping and shit, and you know you're getting $50,000 per kid per month. So if you had like 50 kids, right? I mean, think about it. You'd have
Jeez,
$2.5 million a month coming in hard cold cash because
Sure.
because there's no insurance companies involved. That's also a branch of regulation that doesn't exist. So it's one of those really weird situations where rich people are more easily victimized than poor people.
Which bizarre.
So,
but,
like, if
but
you're
imagine, Ted,
if you're a poor kid and you're, you know, selling,
you're left in Central Park shooting heroin and selling your body.
Exactly
They just leave you there.
And you either die or you get over it somehow.
They just leave you there. But here's the thing. These rich parents, I know they're in a desperate situation.
They are.
But I wonder if they've ever thought, had the thought ever crossed their minds, like, who am I sending my kid to? Like, have they done background checks?
So basically,
So
I have a friend who, she did this. She was sent. She's the former junkie. It worked for her, and she said, "Look,
wow.
objectively, she said it was abusive. They were violent. They didn't rape her or anything like that, but you know, they beat her, they humiliated her. There was psychological torture. That she was tied up. She was beat up by the other kids, like as part of ritual, like to punish her for not following the rules. And basically, but it worked. Like she came back terrified of how. First of all, she got off drugs, and she was terrified to have to go back to a place like that. And she is now a mother of a child and well-adjusted and has a,
Wow.
a good job, and she's fine.
I mean,
now.
that's good to
But
hear.
It can work. And now the thing is, do I recommend this? No. But here's the problem. I don't know what the fuck you're supposed to do in a situation. Let's say you find yourself with a kid who's very troubled and you have the money to throw at the problem. If you don't throw money at the problem, nothing will happen. If you do throw money at the problem, maybe they'll end up, your kid will come out like my friend.
But maybe they end up like Paris Hilton, who was abused and kind of, I forget the language she actually used, but it's tantamount to being molested, basically.
Yes. Oh, I believe that.
They're perverts working there.
And by the way, it's mostly men and lesbians who work in places like that. So of course it's like, it's ripe for abuse. It's like juvenile detention. It's like, I mean, it's a recipe for abuse. It's meant to be abused. And it's part of the problem is our society doesn't believe that, that mental health is something that we have an obligation as a society to treat communally. It doesn't believe that people who use drugs should be helped by society. I mean, if you had state facilities that were for everybody and that were run well, you wouldn't have to deal with this. But these are predators. The operators. I mean, just think about it, Manila. If I called you off the air and said, "Listen, I got a business idea for you," and I pitched like us doing this business, you'd be like, "What the fuck is wrong with Ted Rall?" You'd say like,
yeah.
But what if I was like, "Yeah, but listen,
we're going to electroshock these little fuckers.
Think about the money. Or we don't even care if they get better. In fact, if they don't get better, we make more money because we keep them month after month.
You're incentivized to keep them more fucked up.
Right. I mean, and like, but I mean, fundamentally, because you're a decent person, you'd probably think to yourself, I don't want to tell people I can help them and only probably not be able to help them, even if I tried, and just try to get their money, right? Like that's the best case scenario, is that you have ill-equipped, unqualified people in a non-regulated environment doing something that they're not up to the task. That's like that's the best scenario. Like, you know, you would just be like, it's unethical, it's gross. And like,
the best part that came from this story, Ted, and then we'll move on, is I gotta say, Paris Hilton's my age, right? So I grew up watching her, right? Because she's literally my age. She and Nicole Richie. I would have never anticipated that she would finally become an adult. And I met her one time in Dubai when she was launching something. I was the editor of a magazine, so I was invited to some swanky party, and it was her party. And she was lovely, but very, she kept that persona of like, hey. She's not in real life, she's not actually like that. And the way she testified on the Hill and the few interviews she's given about this issue, she's actually, she sounds like a grown adult woman. She's now
she is
life, and she's well adjusted now, and probably took a lot of work and a lot of money. But she's not what we thought she was in the early 2000s, 20 plus years ago. She's not the person we saw on TV. And I think that's really nice to see that she has overcome. Who would have known that this was what happened to her? So good on her. So, I think it takes a lot of personal chutzpah to get through this sort of stuff.
Well, more to the point, I mean, look, seriously, this is the kind of experience that most people just want to move past and put behind them. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to re-traumatize themselves by testifying before Congress to a bunch of nimrods who not going to fucking understand anything. And on top of that,
Paris, man.
What?
I said props to Paris, man.
Yeah, she's cool. I mean, for sure. So
that's major social brownie points for her raising the red flag.
She's trying to save other kids and also their parents, right?
Yeah.
From more trouble. I mean, the problem's still not solved, right? Like, even if everybody says, okay, I'm not sending my kid to one of these places, that's probably good advice. But what is the answer? What are you supposed to do? There's no fucking answer. It's just like, sucks to be you. That's like the American E pluribus unum should not be our national motto. It should be the Latin version of "sucks to be you."
We'll look that up and make it the tagline of the show. All right, let's go.
90% of Americans may have a syndrome they've never heard of, and here's why cardiologists want you to know about it. This is called Cardiovascular-Kidney-Metabolic syndrome. Very catchy, rolls right off the tongue. CKM syndrome. So the concept was introduced by the American Heart Association 3 years ago. And it's becoming one of the biggest shifts in preventive medicine. So CKM is not a single disease. It's actually a framework that recognizes obesity, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, abnormal cholesterol, heart disease, and chronic kidney disease don't usually occur alone or in isolation. They're all really interconnected, feeding into each other in a vicious circle. CKM is now viewed as a continuum in 4 stages. It begins with excess body fat or early metabolic dysfunction. Then you go through conditions like prediabetes, hypertension, and kidney disease, and then ultimately could lead to heart attacks, strokes, heart failure, or kidney failure. None of them good. The earlier you're identified, however, of course, like with most diseases, the earlier you can interrupt that progression. So the definition is broad enough to identify people with even early warning signs who could benefit from lifestyle changes, and I don't mean lifestyle changes like you need to become gay or become straight, but before permanent damage occurs. That's why 90% of Americans qualify here. A Mediterranean-style diet, regular exercise, adequate sleep, don't smoke, manage your weight, and newer medications like GLP-1s and SGLT2s inhibitors have all been shown to help out and reduce your risk to your heart, kidneys, and metabolic system. So very cool. They view it like now as, so instead of treating these things as, isolated things like you have this one thing, you're pre-diabetic or whatever. It's like, well, Ted, actually, it's all related. Of course, that's not surprising, but
let me be the Asian. Let me be the Asian here.
Well, you are the Asian here.
So at least 2, if not 4,000 years worth of Eastern medicine, I could have told you this without having gone to medical school or performed all these tests to say the body, the parts of your body are part of a whole interconnected thing. And in Eastern medicine, they treat as the whole, right? Not Western medicine tends to isolate everything into like that particular part, your kidney, your liver, your whatever. But in Eastern medicine, when you go see, like, let's say an herbalist or an acupuncturist or whatever, they look at how all of these things are interconnected and what your goal is, right? It's not only like, oh, I don't know, I have ED or whatever. They look at, well, let's see how your kidneys are you peeing well, or are you having trouble peeing or whatever. They've been treating people like this for thousands of years. Western medicine is finally realizing, oh, gee, the heart's connected to something. Oh, okay,
yeah, they still haven't figured out stuff like dental health is not a separate thing from other health. Yes. Eye health is not its own separate thing. But it's
like how your dental health can literally cause you a heart attack. Like you can literally.
Think about how absurd that is. Imagine if they were like, oh, do you have shoulder insurance? In case something happens to your shoulder. I mean, you don't know. I mean, people, you could have a shoulder problem. Oh, we'll sell you right shoulder insurance. If something happens to your left shoulder, I mean, that's literally how ridiculous our system is. We have eye insurance. We have mouth insurance.
Separate, right. We have dental insurance, eye insurance, and then the body. But Ted, I've never seen in medical insurance, they have not said they necessarily include the head. So I don't know if that's in the fine print.
No, the head's not included.
So if like something happens, if
you get some gnarly gum cancer, but then it metastasizes and goes into your brain, that shit's on you. Like, we'll cover the gums, but the rest of it, that's
again the motto: sucks to be you.
It's the American way.
Robbie looked up the Latin "casum sentit dominus," translates to "that's your problem." Good to know. That's why we have a producer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all about that is the American way.
It is.
That's your problem. The only way. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the FBI says they've arrested 113 foreign spies just this year alone. And we're only in July. So the Cold War is over. Not really. It's really not. But the age of espionage is not. FBI Director Kash Patel says the Bureau has arrested 113 active spies working on behalf of foreign governments so far this year, including 62 individuals linked to China. Patel also said counterintelligence arrests have increased by 53%, calling the crackdown a major effort to protect American technology, military secrets, and critical infrastructure. While the FBI did not release details on every case, the arrests reflect what U.S. intelligence officials have warned about for years. Modern espionage isn't limited to Hollywood-style spies exchanging briefcases in dark alleys. Today's foreign intelligence operations often target research universities, defense contractors, technology companies, government agencies, and supply chains. The goal isn't just stealing classified documents. It can include intellectual property, military technology, artificial intelligence research, trade secrets, and influence operations. Ted, I'm telling you, that's why all these people were trade secrets, man. They're here for our ranch dressing.
Yes, they are.
They really are. The FIFA,
Nobody
like
knows.
FIFA was
But the problem
guys.
is even Americans don't know what's in it.
What is in our ranch dressing? Like xanthan gum, delicious. China remains the FBI's primary counterintelligence concern. A congressional report has documented numerous espionage cases involving the Chinese government, including efforts to recruit Americans, obtain sensitive military information, steal commercial technology, and pressure Chinese dissidents living in the United States. I know they really, really want the new Air Force One designs from Nike. That's
I thought
it's a
like
big
the
thing.
Air Force One design from Qatar.
Oh no. I'm talking about the important one,
Which
Ted.
apparently
The Nike
speaking of
Air Force
spying
Ones.
is apparently not secure, and Trump didn't fly on it yesterday.
Previous FBI leaders have described Beijing's intelligence campaign as one of the most extensive in modern history. Patel also highlighted the Bureau's broader national security efforts, saying the FBI has disrupted cyber threats, increased cartel arrests, and stopped hundreds of active criminal plots this year. Because
I would think that Kash Patel could simply individually, single-handedly catch all the spies just because of his googly eyes, because he could see them.
They're rolling around everywhere. He sees everything. He's like omniscient because of that.
All the time.
The stereotype of the lone spy passing secret documents has largely been replaced. Campaigns operating in plain sight. The battlefield isn't confined to overseas intelligence services anymore either. Increasingly, it's universities, laboratories, boardrooms. Remember, Hunter Biden was on all kinds of boards when Dad was POTUS, and computer networks at home. The FBI's announcement suggests that America's intel war is no longer something happening in distant capitals. It's already here. And one of the cases that was detailed, Ted, I'm very disappointed in this young man. Not because he was a spy, but okay, so he's a young naval, I don't know what his job was, but he was in the Navy. And
he was a young naval dude.
Young Navy guy. He got a hold of some classified documents and he sold them to China for $12,000. That's what I'm disappointed at. And now he's caught and he's facing up to 200 months in prison for $12,000. I remember, Ted, I'm still that car salesman. I'm still that realtor. I hate to see money left on the table. And this stupid Navy boy, I assume he's young because they didn't really say his age, but they said he's young. He's just wet behind the ears, Ted. He could have gotten a hell of a lot more than $12,000 from China. Come on, kid. You didn't negotiate yourself a better deal?
It's like congressmen. They take bribes for like $4,000. And you're like, really? Like, that's all you think you're worth?
That's it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I was plotting to embezzle from the Japanese bank where I used to work. But I was going to walk away if my plot worked well with like 1/3 of $250 million. That's worth it.
See, that's worth risking jail time.
Exactly.
$12,000 for 200 months in prison?
Ridiculous.
Like, kid, when you get out of prison, call me. I'm gonna put you in the Manila School of Negotiating because I do grind out every freaking penny. Every penny.
Got it.
Whether it's my house, my car, whatever. Just, I'm disappointed in this kid. The espionage thing, come on.
And you should be.
Espionage.
You should be.
That's, Asian mom is very, very displeased by this.
By the way, just a reminder, DMZ America podcast is now on Fridays, coming up in 6 minutes.
You moved it?
Yes, it's Fridays at 11. Alexandra Bowman, a young cartoonist, she's going to be the guest. And we're talking
A lady cartoonist. I like
she's
it.
a lady cartoonist. We'll be talking about why political cartoons suck. Okay, so here we go. All right. Police officers see a lot, but even seasoned detectives don't expect to write this sentence in an official report. The suspect allegedly cut off his own penis, poured gasoline on it, and set it on fire. That's what happened in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Well, that's a common thing in Fort Wayne. Anyway, according to court documents, 36-year-old Christopher Peden is accused of mutilating himself with a kitchen knife before dousing the severed body part in gasoline and using it to ignite a fire inside a garage.
How?
What, you don't
Ted,
own
how?
matches? You don't have a piece
No,
of
no.
wood?
I mean, I don't
magazine,
own
a
a
piece of
I don't
paper?
own a penis. I don't
Yeah.
own a penis, so I didn't know that this body
Well, neither
part
does he
was highly
anymore.
flammable.
Neither does he anymore. The blaze caused significant property damage, so that's the real issue because it's America. Never mind the rest, right? And Peden now faces a felony arson charge. When police first encountered him, authorities say Peden claimed he had been stabbed by someone in downtown Fort Wayne, as can happen. Investigators said he later admitted that he made up the story and confessed that actually he did it to himself. Fire investigators recovered a gas can, multiple lighters, I guess it didn't take the first time, and the knife allegedly used in the incident. Nobody really seems to know exactly what he was thinking, probably not him either. Court records don't identify a motive. There's been no public explanation. Nobody knows if he was having a psychiatric crisis. But anyway, there you go. So
There a lot of penis talk today, Ted, with
that was
between the
our
clip
theme.
from Dr.
That was our
Swan.
theme in today's show. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of look, I forget now how many years it's been 35 years ish since the Bobbitt incident, right? The most famous peen chopping incident.
True.
But self peen chopping? Like why?
Well, it's
What?
not. Yeah, I mean,
Why?
Well, I don't know. I mean, and using it to set. I mean, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that because it's Fort Wayne, Indiana, Manila, I'm going to.
I've never been, so explain.
I'm going to say meth was probably involved.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. So the guy gets like if you look up this story, the guy, don't you guys can't you bleed to death if you chop off your junk?
Oh,
I mean,
100%. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so how is this guy chopping off his thing, dousing it in gasoline, medical attention?
And by the way, this is one of those rare times when I really do sympathize with the police. They're really not paid enough. They're really just not. And really, honestly, if they just showed up and shot him, I think they would have been doing everyone a favor, really. if I read oh, we showed up and we saw the man doing that and we shot him, I'd be like, all right, that's okay. That's cool.
I have so many questions about this case, but I feel like I'd have to call Fort Wayne, Indiana PD.
Oh God.
And be like, I'm a reporter. I need to know more details of this case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't. But I don't know. We're leaving the show.
You have to agree. This. Methamphetamine is a good theory, right?
I presume I saw his mugshot. He looked kind of methy, but I didn't see his teeth, so I don't know. But he had it looked like he picked at his face a lot. So probably
tweaker behavior. Hey, I gotta hop. My
yep, we gotta run. We'll leave it there on a fiery chopped peen. Stay tuned for DMZ America and make sure. Oh, Robbie, explain for everyone before we go how they can watch Dr. Swan's full interview.
So there's two ways. You can be a Rumble Premium subscriber, or for $10 a month, or if you don't want to do that, just subscribe to TMI. What you can do is just become a channel subscriber for $5 a month.
And they have to do that they can only do that when we're live.
Correct.
So you can, so you can join now
or
by Monday when we're live.
Yep.
Yeah,
Either way.
join us live.
Yep. That will
And
be
that
how
money
you'll do
goes
it.
straight to our crew only. Rumble doesn't take it if you subscribe just to our channel.
Right. Yeah. Rumble does not take a cut.
Wow. So there you go. If you want to help just the show and watch the exclusive interviews of stuff like this with Dr. Swan, become a premium subscriber for just the TMI show. And we get all of it. Rumble lets us have it. So there you go. Have a good weekend, everybody. Look out for lit penises flying everywhere. 4th of July. Bye all. Bye, Robbie.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.